my life at IIT, right? I did not felt very comfortable, at least during my initial days in IITs. I will say that technologies are there to help us, not still who we are. If you don't adopt technologies, definitely you're gonna left behind. If you know, there was two guys behind the Super 30. One was Abhay sir, one was Anand sir, right? Who eventually got separated in between. So I was part of Abhay Super 30,000, 40,000 people used to apply at that time. Hardly like 20, 25, 30 people gets into that.
Hello everyone, welcome to Medial's second episode in the podcast series. Medial is a next gen professional network wherein we enable you to learn from other people through your peers and create communities around design, tech, product, etc. to learn about the overall startup ecosystem in India. As an extension to that and our platform, we are presenting you the podcast series in which we bring you real life entrepreneurs who have been there, done that. And in this episode, we have Raushan from Finmo over here, who was a mechanical engineer and now is a director of tech at Finmo, which is a startup which has raised $8 million for cross border payments. Uh, Welcome, Roshan, to the episode. We would love to know from you a brief introduction of who you are, what have you been doing, and how has been your journey so far.
First of all, thank you, Niket, for warm welcome. So, like, I'm Roshan. So currently, I am director of engineering at Finmo. So at Finmo, right, my core responsibility lies around managing our core component of payment infrastructure. So, like, I have been like, in the same industry, in tech industry, for last like 8 years. So during my last 8 year, right, my main idea or main goal has been like using tech to solve real world problem. Like like since the start of my career, right, I was working with initially with Exotel, and Exotel I built basically cloud telephony, and then actually I moved to actually Repute, where actually I built a blockchain startup, and it was more focused on data privacy. But somehow I felt one thing when I used to see a like fintech platform, right? I used to think that a platform which is dealing with money, right, it requires a high accuracy, and always wanted to part of that, right? And then like one of my ex colleague, right, Raj, was starting this company Finmo, right, and he asked me that can I be the first employee there and help the build the company. So I thought, why not? This is like my true calling, and I went there. So this is how I like start of my journey with Finmo.
Got it. So, Roshan, tell us something about why Finmo or why fintech in today's cluttered fintech landscape. Everyone is going after e-commerce, edtech, AI is the new wave, and it is being used across industries. But building fintech in general has been hard, right? Like for example, when I think of fintech, or when any layman would think of fintech, he would understand that it's a lot of transaction of money.
Hmm.
So a lot of chances of fraud,
Risk.
problems. Your tech can't go down because if I'm making a payment, it goes down. I'm never using you again, right? It's such a risky and such a tough space to build in. So how does a startup navigate through all this? And what are the kind of resources required, ideally, or
Definitely.
the mindset to build something in this space?
So let's handle the first question, why fintech, right?
Yeah.
So definitely there is a lot of opportunity in e-commerce, tech, right? So e-commerce is still like a lot of market has been tapped right now, and tech is like I will say like in next 5 year we will tap that market as well, right? But tech a lot has to prove themselves. Now coming to fintech, like fintech is like really old industry, right? Money has been like existing forever, right? And probably it will exist another 100 year, maybe like forever, right? So basically, dealing with money is always gonna face new problem,
Right.
and it will present new challenges. As the world is changing, the way you deal with money has to change a lot, right?
Right.
Why Finmo? So see, like when you are starting or any fintech company, right? A lot depend on the vision, what you
Mhm.
want to build, and what is your short term vision, what is your long term vision. So when I actually uh, came across my founder, right, I see them that they are carrying a lot of experiences. Like most of the founders have 20 years of experience in fintech world, and when they talked their vision to me, right, I was fully convinced that they have the clarity what needed in this basically crowded space. And this crowded space, even though it's very crowded, right? It's a known fact, it's a money minting machine. If you get
Right.
it right, you can build or you can generate a lot of revenue. And this is the reason actually I wanted to part of this journey.
Got it. Yeah, I've heard the, I can relate to that, as I've heard the journey of Stripe and how two brothers build Stripe, now probably handling more than $1 billion in
Correct.
transaction. So fintech grows very fast, very,
Very,
if done
yes,
right.
if done right.
Absolutely agreed to that. Now, I mean, we could get some help if we could define Finmo as a solution, right? What is the differentiator here? What are you trying to build? What
Yes.
is Finmo? How is it different from, let's say, a PayPal or a Stripe or a Razorpay in India? What is the difference here, the core differentiator?
See, Finmo, right? At Finmo, we are seeing a basically long journey, let's say like 5 to 10 year journey, where actually we want to build treasury operating system. So
Mhm.
basically, we want to be orchestrator of your money as a business. Like suppose you are a CEO of a company and you want to manage your money. So we should be the company you can think of. So now it's a long journey, right? We cannot do this from day one. So we have taken some baby step towards that. So first we want to solve like collection problem, then disbursement problem,
Mhm.
and different country has different solutions for this.
Got
So
it.
so basically, if you want to like be a one stop treasury operating system for all the companies, right? You need to have basically payments rail in the most of the countries, at least the famous countries like big economies, right? So this is what we have started with. So basically the idea is that you go with those country, okay, and we have been going with those country, building the local solutions. And once that is ready, right, then we like last year onward, right, our focus has been actually cross border payment. So
Got it.
basically if you see as a Finmo, we have been live in 5 countries.
Mhm.
Like we are like completely live in Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, Philippines, and Thailand. Those are the 5 market we are already live with our full stack solutions. And in different other country like US, UK, right, we have been partially providing solutions. So we are a full-fledged cross-border payment. You have to send money across 180 countries in
Mhm.
38 countries. We can enable that.
Got it. Sending money outside India has been like, or receiving money outside India,
Correct.
inside India,
Yeah.
from outside,
Yes.
has been a task, right? It's so hard. Like, I remember doing it with different portals where I
Correct.
had to go offline to, understand how exactly it is working. There used to be a very famous, I think it still exists, the company, yellow logo,
Mhm.
but I'm forgetting the exact name. It's very big for receiving and sending payments. But I think cross border has a lot of opportunities
Correct.
still left, and a lot of startups have sprung up
Correct.
to, do that. Do you think that the current technological evolution will play a part in bettering or damaging or, affecting
Yes.
fintech in general? For example, AI has come in
Mhm.
and it's making things faster, better, more efficient, right?
Definitely.
Everyone is talking about it.
Definitely.
How do you see the application of AI as the director of tech in Finmo?
See, AI is like enabler for a lot of things, right? I always see AI as a like your companion to solve any problem, rather than it's posing any threat to your current business model or current employment. It's not like that. It's just enabling you for doing more and more things in a quicker way, right? So we at Finmo, right, we are very like accepting mindset for Gen AI. Like a lot of people uses actually in Gen AI in our company. The idea is that use that tool to make your work easier, faster, and better. So like what we could have achieved with the very less number of teams member, right, it was only possible because of Gen AI.
Mhm.
If it wasn't there, like our work could have been like much harder, because writing any solutions takes longer time, right? But with help of Gen AI, right, it the time has reduced a lot.
Got it.
Learning curve has come down.
Got it. Completely understandable. Yeah. I also believe that eventually, just like any other tech that has come in the past, for example, calculator or internet, eventually AI will also be an enabler and a helper of sorts to enable
Apart from
better
this
things.
take, like AI is like one topic like everybody talks about, right? But not long before, everybody is talking about blockchain,
Correct.
right?
Web3, blockchain.
Web3, right? And I personally feel in cross-border payments, blockchain has to play a very huge role.
Right.
See,
Do you believe in the decentralized internet or
different-
transaction philosophy?
that's what I was trying to say. Basically, see, relation between countries are improving.
Correct.
Like, take it for example, India itself, right? Like the relation of India with all other countries has improved a lot better than it used to be like 20 years ago.
Mhm.
Similarly, like if you see the world itself, right? World eventually will be becoming one country rather than saying 180 country or 200
Correct.
countries. It's moving towards that, right? So as soon as this starts happening, right, everybody have certain technology, certain payment rails, and they will start sharing it. Like India has started sharing UPI rails with lot other countries, right? Like they have started UPI rails with Singapore, Sri Lanka, and other countries, Nepal actually, right? So basically, this will keep going on. So we should see this eventually in long term. Maybe like it will take time, definitely, but in long term, what will happen that mm, in long term, basically, whole world will seen as a one country, and blockchain, especially, I feel it can
Blockchain will become the leveler of sorts.
enabler for this kind of technology. Because
Technology.
see, by using blockchain, right, you can send money to anybody across globes and it happens fast, right? So suppose I am sending money to somebody in US, right? It doesn't require anything. I just need a wallet address and you can send money
Send
there.
money very
Uh,
easily.
but I think till now countries has been not very accepting to
Yeah.
blockchain.
I think the governments have not really
Government has
been
been not very
easy
open
with
about
it.
this. So
Yeah.
I think it's a very difficult route to say.
But eventually, we'll
Eventually,
reach there.
its time will come.
Yeah.
How
And
long?
I've heard that the countries which will not be very accepting of, blockchain, web, and crypto in general, will be left backwards, right? Like if you don't join the train where everyone is heading, then you become isolated as a country. Correct.
As a technology, I think blockchain is moving at a very fast pace,
Mhm.
and given the evolution happening in basically computing world, right?
Mhm.
It's gonna solve a lot of
A
problems.
lot of problems. Now we have better chips,
It's
better
a
compute power.
better compute power, right? So we're saying that transactions are slow and all
Mhm.
those things will not longer be
Yeah,
existing
not
problem, right?
acceptable as
Eh,
reasons.
not acceptable as a reason. So what governments have started doing, and I have seen few countries doing this, that they are making regulation little harder.
Mhm.
That's a way of controlling it. So you cannot deny the fact that eventually blockchain will be there in market.
Absolutely. I do believe that we'll have a global currency and there'll be, it'll be borderless, basically,
Yes,
right?
yes, borderless.
Convenience will be
Convenience.
faster. Moving on to the, next part of the discussion here, Roshan. I would like to ask you about Finmo's fundraise journey,
Mhm.
how that happened, when that happened, and also for the users here and our viewers, let me tell you that the first round that Finmo had raised was pre-product, which essentially means when Finmo was not into existence as a product, is when investors decided they had enough conviction on the founders, idea, vision, and overall experience to be investing like millions of dollars pre-product, right? So from Roshan, we'll know today how has the journey been, what were the steps, and how did it feel? What changed post investment, pre-seed, seed, both?
So Finmo has basically raised two funds. One is pre-seed and seed fund as well, right? So what happened during first round, right? So we did not had like paying customer, but we did had like our concept ready as a product. Like the MVP was ready.
Mhm.
So like we went to our investors basically, and they showed the product that this is the idea, and we can build this. We can build it much faster than other company has done it. So they like the idea, and I will say they invested money on the idea, on the team. So the team itself was really good, right? If I would like to like give a tab about the founders, who they are actually, then you will then
Absolutely. Would
understand.
love to know
Yeah,
about
definitely.
the founders and the
So
vision.
so our founders, right? Like we have actually 5 founders. Like slightly number is more, but
Yeah.
but everyone brings a unique experience. So our CEO, right, David Hanna, he has been like offered he is having 20 years of experience in compliance. So he was associated with a company like EY and basically PayPal. Then we have a Richard O who has been like working for more than 12 years in PayPal itself. And he at one time he was actually Asia Pacific head for the PayPal. And then we have actually Akhil Ligam who has developed product all sorts, right? But one of the product which stood out for me, right, is like e-commerce payment gateway for Mastercard, like which is the hot selling product, right? Then we have actually Thomas Kang, we call him Tom actually. So basically he is actually he was actually director of Citibank Korea. So basically you can see all those 4 founders, right? And we have like our CTO, right, who has built company like Exotel, then a small case, and then he has worked with bamboo, and then all those founder, right, actually get together at a company called Rapid. They worked good 3-4 years there, build the company. When they joined, probably the company has valuation of 50 million or something, and when they left it has 10 million valuation. So they know like what it takes to build company from a small startup to like really big company, and they know it from heart. And that's what actually investor saw. And the
founder pedigree is very important in general,
pedigree,
right? Like
yes,
when
yes.
investors assess
See,
how
basically
much experience
they bank on experience, like you already told, right? In fintech, experience matters a lot. You can't be a rookie and deal with money.
Correct.
And that's what I also feel, that you have to have a really good experience so that you cannot destroy money.
Correct.
You cannot destroy people money.
Very shaky. Yeah, absolutely. So Raushan, your team also has expanded a lot, right? Like
Correct.
how did the headcount differ from your pre-seed to seed? What were the kind of roles that you guys hired for? And how does tech hiring at Finmo in general look like? Like what do you yourself were a mechanical engineer, nothing to do with computer science.
Nothing.
Now you are a director of tech. And this is the beauty of startups wherein your degrees do not matter. Your all that matters is your experience, your hustle, and what you would like to do in the future, right? I might do an arts course, and you never know, I might be a CTO tomorrow, right? So let's know from Raushan, how did it actually work? One is your team's expansion from pre-seed to seed, and one is about your own journey of becoming the director of tech at Finmo from a mechanical background.
Sure, definitely. Let's talk about team first. So like during first 6 months, right, we had like approximately just 5 tech employees apart from founders. And like I started like backend development, and for a couple of months, right, I was a lone person writing code behind the scene, right? Then once we launched, right, definitely I did not have enough time to write the codes. That's where we needed to expand our team, and we started growing, right? So I personally feel that in a startup, right, every hire is very important.
Correct.
They play a very important role to save the company. If you hire wrong, you probably will delay it by a couple of months.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
So and there is one particular things I just want to answer. Like when you are actually hiring a raw talent, right, you are actually competing with companies like Google, Microsoft,
absolutely,
and who are actually trying to pay much more than what you will be, right? It's fact, right? Startup always has shortage of money.
Correct.
There is no denying in that, right? So the thing is that we felt that when we are hiring somebody, we make our vision very clear, that what we want to, what you can expect from us. There is no hiding from the facts there, right? We cannot say that, okay, you are coming here, you have to just come at 10 o'clock, leave at 4 o'clock, work remotely. This is not, we give them hard facts. Okay, this is the fact, and we believe in a vision. Do you want to build something of your own, where 5 year or 10 year down the line you can say, I have built this?
Correct.
So once this aligns, right, every other things is just secondary thing. Because I feel that if you have right mindset, right, take another thing can be learn. Because if you are giving 15-16 hours every day on certain thing, how you cannot be expert in upcoming months?
Right. And you genuinely have to love the entire vision of what you're doing. Otherwise, you won't be able to give that 15-16 hours. Right?
Otherwise, you cannot do.
Cannot. Yeah.
You cannot.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Simple thing. So similar thing happened with me
Mhm.
as an engineer, right?
Uh-huh.
So basically, when I got into IIT, right, I started my basically course as a manufacturing science.
Mhm.
But as soon as I went there, right, I realized that actually software has a big future out, and I should be looking to shift my career. So slowly I have started learning coding, but it was not of nothing sort of professional level, right? But I was slowly learning Python and all, right? So when actually Exotel went to our campus, right, and they were looking for engineers, so they wanted to give me a chance. It was more of that sort only. It wasn't that I did really good on certain interview and
Yeah.
then, because I was not a computer science engineer, right? I was manufacturing engineer, mechanical engineer who has been actually just studying coding a little bit, right? So when I came to Bangalore, right, the team was really good. The environment was really good, like the passion, right, to build something.
Exotel is a huge company now. Yeah.
Yes, you know that, right? So but when I joined, they were hardly 14 15 people. Okay, but the passion on each engineer was really good. So I still remember one particular thing I was told on like first week of my job. I asked certain questions about particular task was given to me. I won't tell what is the task. So I was told that RTFM, probably you know is abbreviation, right?
Right.
So but actually I thought like it is more about RTMF, right? Why it's saying F, like F first? When I went actually and just then I realized, oh shit, he was trying to say something else. And then I realized basically hardest truth in the startup world, then you don't have to look for a spoon feeding. You have to go and figure out yourself.
Right.
And that was actually a awakening call for me, and I never looked back actually. I started my career in actually Exotel as a basically DevOps engineer, but within 6 months to a year, right, I moved to like writing codes, and within the 2 years line, right, actually I was leading a team of 10 people to build something called data localization project, which has been like one of the most revenue generating part for Exotel as of now.
For people who don't know, Exotel is a huge, I would still call it a startup, but they're a very big company in telephony services. For example, they're a
Okay,
huge
fine.
sales team. One of the biggest clients has happened to be Byju's, wherein you can call with different numbers, rerouting services and stuff like that. Purely tech, like pure innovation in tech. And Roshan, can you tell me how did the first experience in Exotel affect your future in tech?
So I like this can be advice for like all the youngsters as well. When you join your first company, right, look for what you're looking for. Don't look for money actually. So similar case was with me also. I stayed in Exotel for almost 4 years, and it gave me all the knowledge what I needed for probably next 20 years.
Correct.
Basically a guideline, a path. It showed me the path. If you follow this path, right, you are gonna be successful. And it taught me some good values, which I still carry with me. So basically, if you see, right, the all the engineers, even my mentor, right, basically I had actually Vishnu there, Vishnu Gajendran. He used to work in AWS Seattle, and after 3 years of work he came to India and wanted to settle in India, and I got a chance to work with him, and I learned a lot from him. The mindset, the engineering capability, right, how you should see a problem, right. It is, I learned everything from him, right. And basically, if you find a right company, right, no matter what salary and what kind of environment you're getting, just stick there. It will be very, very helpful for you in long term.
Yeah, I think exactly, Roshan. I think the culture being a good culture fit, like if you actually find a company like that which helps
Correct.
you grow,
Correct.
it's invaluable. Also, the second realization is that having a mentor, we just had this discussion in the last podcast, that having a great mentor, doesn't matter which field or industry you are in, will take you miles ahead in your
Miles
career,
ahead.
right? Like, because you are a fresher, you don't know anything, your mentor can like literally lift you up, piggyback you, and you can piggyback on their experience and learn so much more, right?
Yes.
So on the continued topic, how are you maintaining, or what is Finmo's culture like, and what is your vision and your founder's vision
Yes.
on how to maintain that culture, what the culture is,
Hmm.
what do you guys do to maintain that culture, and in general, if I think about Finmo, what should I think about its employee culture?
Definitely different. So I think culture is always driven by founders. Okay.
Correct. Correct.
So like I told little bit about the founders, right? Just uh, not they have actually good banking experience, but they are very amazing human being.
Mm-hmm.
So from day one, like I was told that don't treat this as another company, it's your company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this is the message we have been passing all along. Like whoever we hire, we want make basically we want make them feel that this is his company.
Hmm.
Okay. If you do a wrong thing, we all have to suffer. The company has to suffer. And if you do right things, we all gonna grow together.
Completely.
Okay. So this is my personal style of leading as well.
Mhm.
I don't want to like keep all the power with me.
Mhm.
I just want to like make sure that he's aware of his role, he's aware of his responsibility, and give all the freedom what he needs.
So basically, zero micromanagement and
Yes.
complete independence, right? In terms
Complete
of
independence.
But independence also brings a lot of responsibility, right? For example, in my previous experience, we had a very democratic culture and complete independence for our folks that used to work with us. Nobody was used to work under someone. Everyone was you used to work with us, right? That was the philosophy.
Correct.
That's how level the playing field is. No
Correct.
matter what your designation or
Correct.
experiences, everyone had the right to almost the same degree of things, right?
Correct.
And transparency.
Correct.
But that also means that for a fresher, it might be very hard to adapt in such an environment wherein you're not being you'll be held responsible for mistakes, but also you have that complete independence. I think freshers can go wayward
No,
in
so
that
I
kind
think
of
that's where
environment,
actually
right?
slight control is there.
Mhm.
I think, see, when we are talking about, right, that we are giving you freedom, right,
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that we are leaving you alone.
Mhm.
Go and do your stuff.
Right.
It isn't like that, right? It doesn't work.
Mhm.
So what we do actually, we make you feel basically responsible for your task.
Got it.
Okay. And depending on what level you are coming in the company, right,
Mhm.
the task given to you is accordingly that.
Got it.
Okay. So basically, I will tell you, like, most of our engineers, right,
Mhm.
actually they started career with us.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah,
Freshers.
yeah, freshers actually.
Mhm.
Okay. But like we had hired very few engineers who was experienced earlier.
Mhm.
So what we did actually, and you can understand, building fintech platform with
Freshers,
freshers,
yeah. I
it's
mean,
not, no,
I don't know
it's not
how
easy
that
thing,
works.
right?
Yeah.
So what we did, like, so basically we do have like some exceptional leader, like our CTO itself, and I have one of my colleague actually with me, Ramay, who's like, again, we all three used to like work together at Exotel.
Mhm.
So we three have really good bonding,
Correct.
and we trust each other like
Mhm.
really good. So what happened basically, we three decide a path for any engineers coming in our company. We lay down a path for, let's say, 6 month. Okay. That's a basically kind of our review cycle as well, like when we sit together and review like what happened in the company, right? So basically we lay down the path for each engineer for 6 months,
Mhm.
and we see how they are growing, how they are reacting, right?
Mhm.
We are not doing micromanagement that every day I am gonna ask you that, "Hey, why you're doing this way, do that way."
Mhm.
But we keep observing things, what is happening,
Correct. Correct.
right? And if you are like getting way over, right, so I
Right.
will just give a subtle feedback that you need to
Some
improve on the,
guidance.
yeah,
Yeah.
you need to improve on this in
Correct.
this particular way. And
Amazing.
this is all we need, right? Once you say in a very responsible manner, right, just show him the fact, right? Basically,
Mhm.
what can go wrong if you
Mhm.
do it in another way?
Another way, right. That is pure guidance.
Pure guidance. It's
Right.
not micromanagement. It's a
Right.
pure guidance that,
Guidance.
and this is what we have to.
And it helps people.
It helps, right?
Yeah.
Sometime I think Chandan, right, was
Mhm.
asking me like few times back that how do you manage like tight deadline, right? Because as a startup, you will always have tight deadlines, right?
Right.
So I don't have to actually tell him that, dude, go and work overnight.
Hmm.
Doesn't like that, right? I can say that, see, if we don't deliver this project by, like, let's
This
say,
is the
like
consequence.
this is the consequence, right? We
Right.
might lose a certain customer,
Hmm.
and which can impact our revenue by, let's say, like
Hmm.
20K per month, right?
Right.
So, would you like to take that risk? and
No,
and
perfect.
and he will say that, you don't have to remind me again. I will put my hours and hours, and probably he will deliver project a day
Before
before
times.
it.
Yeah, got it. Cool. So one other thing that I wanted to cover here, Roshan, great insights on culture fit, by the way, uh, is the future in the next 5 years. Where do you see one Finmo? Second, the future of fintech in general. We all saw the recent, things that happened with Paytm and the regulations that came, and I mean that bigger mammoth being grounded all of a sudden is sent like shockwaves across the industry, right? So, what are your thoughts on the next 5 years in fintech and for Finmo?
I think compliance is the key here.
Hmm.
Okay. So, like told you, like in the very beginning itself, right? Our team is coming from very vibrant background who has very good or rich experience in fintech, right? So we do understand for fintech, compliance is a core. Okay,
Mhm.
it's not the money movement, how much money you are moving. It's the compliance, how compliant you are with different countries, different bank, all those things are.
Mhm.
So even Paytm failed more because of compliance than anything else,
Absolutely,
right?
regulations.
And because our founders are experienced enough, right?
Mhm.
They have taken care of compliance from day one.
Hmm.
So we are definitely going to build more and more on that. So Finmo definitely will not have problem. Hopefully, will not have problem like that. And in 5 year down the line, we want to be like powerhouse of payment movement, basically money movement.
Money movement
You have to
across
manage your money. You can think of one name is
Finmo.
Finmo.
Got it.
Doesn't matter like what is the purpose. Whether you have to
Absolutely.
do collections, you have to do payouts, you have to do
Mhm.
FX,
Mhm.
or you just wanna manage your money. Like I
Mhm.
have like 100 of accounts. I just wanna move money here and there,
Mhm.
right? You can use.
Amazing. Great. Great to know that, Roshan. A bit into your own personal journey and personal life. If you can tell us, where were you born? How was your schooling, then college, and what was your very initial journey? We also heard about Super 30 and that you
Yes,
were a
yes.
part of it. And ये बिहार में मतलब exactly काम कैसे करता है, right? Like how does it go
It's
around
a
there? What is the
complicated
thought?
one, yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah.
sure, sure. Would love to get more insights. I think everyone would
I
love that.
think I think you have given me the opportunity to talk about this, right?
Mhm.
So see, I come from a very humble background. So during my childhood, right, like life was not very easy.
Mhm.
Somehow I used to manage to get time for my studies. Like
Mhm.
there was certain part of my life I had to actually earn my bread as well.
Mhm.
So like till 10th, right, I was working. Like, basically, I was studying in government schools like in Bihar. I think you are from Bihar, right?
Yeah.
So you can imagine
Yeah.
what kind of education they provide in
Mhm.
Bihar, right? But actually, somehow like I had like something in me. So
Yeah.
basically, I kept working hard on my studies.
Mhm.
So I was like one of like I was told that I was a very good student during my school days, and when actually Super 30 exam was happening, right, one of my friend actually just a week before told me that there is an exam going to happen for this.
Mhm.
Do you want to appear for it? I was like, "Ki, I'm just playing cricket at ground, so it's better I go and appear for
Yeah.
this particular thing,
कर ही
right?
लेते हैं
ये
मतलब
कर ही लेते हैं,
attempt
right?
करने में क्या है?
क्या जा रहा है?
हाँ.
So I went and just gave the exam.
Mhm.
Luckily, I was in Super 30.
Okay.
It took me to Super 30,
Mhm.
and my life changed completely.
Mhm. How many people apply for Super 30 and how many get in?
See, I just want to clarify one thing. I was not actually from Anand sir Super 30. If you know, there was two guys
Two,
behind the
right.
Super 30.
Super 30.
One was Abhay Anand sir,
हाँ.
one was Anand sir,
Anand
right?
sir.
Who eventually got separated in
Hmm.
between. So I was part of Abhay Anand Super
Abhinand
30.
sir. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, if you say roughly like 30,000, 40,000 people used to apply at that time. I am
Mhm.
not sure what
Mhm.
current scale. So and hardly like 20, 25, 30 people gets into
Wow.
that. So basically there are
Very hard to get in.
two batches. One examination will happen in after 10th, and then one examination happen after 11th, right?
Hmm.
So some people they will fill it from 10th batch and one from
12th.
11th batch.
Got
So
it.
this is how it goes around. But like once I get into Super 30, right, I got the environment like I can only dream of, right? And there was no looking back from
It was
that.
that helpful? Did it
was,
help you
it
that
was
much?
like I could not imagine cracking IIT without it.
Correct. Coming from a humble background and
Yeah,
it's a
definitely,
dream, right? Like
definitely
IIT तो
dream.
सोच भी नहीं
It's like
सकते हैं
सोच नहीं
मतलब.
सकता था मतलब actually it might sound funny but I did not even know about IIT before
Right.
I applied for Super 30.
Hmm. नहीं, definitely. And how did it go after that? Super 30, you cracked IIT, I guess, right? And how was your life in IIT?
Actually, that was actually most challenging part actually.
Okay.
So when you coming from a humble background, right, and
New
get
city,
uh,
IIT, like diverse
go into
people.
IIT, right, their students are like much sharper
Mhm.
than you could imagine, right?
Mhm.
So I was studying in a school, government school, right,
Mhm.
where actually there was, let's say, like even hundreds students there, right?
Mhm.
So they were like of very average students, like,
Right.
right, when you go into IIT, right, everyone having
Best of
like
the country.
best of the countries, right, their communication skills,
Mhm.
their style, and most of the people come from very rich background, by the way.
Right.
People actually forget about this, so adopting in that particular environment was challenging for me.
Absolutely.
And frankly speaking, I did not do well in like IITs during my academics.
Hmm.
If it comes to academics, right,
Hmm.
I struggled that part, right, but I always like basically stayed true to my heart, like
Hmm.
what I believed into. So but the experience, the knowledge I gained into IIT, like the kind of environment I got into IIT, right, it helped me later when I started my career, right. Everything was falling back to the knowledge indirectly I got into IITs. All
Got it.
the basically, I would say, like your ethics,
Ethics,
work
yeah.
ethics,
Mhm.
that you can get it from there.
Got it.
Uh,
Yeah, definitely. I think college experience is invaluable for
Correct,
everyone,
correct.
and same happens to be the case in your case. Tell us about your lowest and your highest points in life. One time when you felt that everything is over and that this is it, I'm going back, I can't do anything anymore. And one time wherein, you were super high on, success or something that you had achieved and you were very happy about that.
So when I talk about um, my journey, right,
Mm-hmm.
you can see, right, I started my like life with the kind of lowest in my life,
Mhm.
like having very humble background, probably where you have to earn for your breads, right.
Mhm.
Then coming to Super 30, then IIT, and eventually basically leading a whole engineering team, right.
Mhm.
It's such an upward journey, right.
Correct. The trajectory is
Trajectory
like
had an
this.
upward,
Correct.
like I love that part, right.
Mhm.
But in between, then having some slump actually, like I
Mhm.
told my life at IIT, right.
Mhm.
I did not felt very comfortable, at
Mhm.
least during my initial days in IITs. That was one thing.
Mhm.
Second thing, recently last year only, what happened that uh, I had my mom who passed away,
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
and that was actually kind of a breaking point for me. Eventually, it felt like, right, why I'm doing this. Basically, the all thing we work for, right.
Mhm.
Eventually, like it's your
You do it
parents,
for your
right.
people,
You do for your
parents.
people, right, and you feel that there isn't point of like
Mhm.
keep working harder and harder. Eventually, you have to leave everything behind, right.
Mhm.
But one thing, like I realize, basically my parents, my mom used to tell,
Mhm.
right, doesn't matter that what we are actually seeing right now. Eventually, you have to make sure that whatever the job you're given, right, it's like I
Mhm.
great believer of Gita and all,
Mhm.
right. So basically, do your karma.
Mhm.
That's the my fact, right, and eventually everything fall in the place, right.
Right.
So my mom passed away. I could not do much thing about that, but uh, it gives me a lot of value to other things I used to ignore.
Mhm.
The family time, uh, the bond you share with the other person, right.
Mhm.
uh, I somehow I don't used to value that much earlier. I used to feel more about the career growth, money,
Mhm.
product, like all those things, right. But the emotional connect, right, I felt after that is like invaluable. And I, in general, I'm much a different person than what used to be earlier.
Correct. I think I'm still in the previous part wherein, all I can think or dream about is work. But
Yes, yes.
eventually you have to realize that it's the people who matter at
People's
the end of
people
the
who
day,
matter,
right?
right, the connect
Otherwise you'll
with
find yourself all alone after a certain point of time.
like it was a kind of a dark truth for me.
Mhm.
With my once my mom was not there. Actually, why it happened, right. It's a funny story, but I want to share this. So my mom was sick actually,
Mhm.
and I during that time I went to my hometown. I
Mhm.
stayed there for like 20-30 days.
Mhm.
uh, Situation was not improving, so I thought that I will come back to Bangalore
Mhm.
just for a week, wrap up most of the things so that I can stay for couple of more months in Patna.
Mhm.
Okay, and that was the whole plan. I came here 3 days, 4 days later. The night came I could not imagine. my mom passed away. Actually, I was not even with her.
Mhm.
So I actually kind of started hating my work, that why I have to like so committed or feel so much about that I cannot be with my mom during my
Tough
like
times.
tough
Yeah.
time, or like her last moment. So this was actually kind of broke me down,
Mhm.
but eventually like you have to organize yourself, come
Right.
back
Come
stronger,
back.
and yeah, definitely it is
So
right.
glad, so glad, Roshan, that you shared this with us. And I guess this is a lesson for all of us here, that all of us are ambitious, and we have been uh, working towards our goals, but at the end of the day, uh, it's our people, parents,
Correct.
and everyone around you that makes life worth living. So whenever it calls for an opportunity, go back and be with them whenever
Definitely.
needed. I think that's one of the things I could take away from your experience, Roshan. So I think one of the things that we could take out from this story of Roshan is that all of us are ambitious young folks, working towards our dreams. But at the end of the day, often most of us realize this very late, that whatever you are doing will not matter if don't have the people who matter to you the most around you to celebrate it, right? So I think whenever time calls for an opportunity to celebrate, to have fun, or be there in times of needs of your loved ones, try to be there, and everything else will fall in place. Trust me, I think I've heard this enough times, and I need to personally to inculcate this in my life, or spending more time with my parents, my loved ones. But thank you, Roshan, for sharing your personal story with us. Really moving, really, it just refreshes your perspective on how important people around you are, like apart from your work.
Correct.
Coming back to the professional side of things, Fenmo, uh, how do you guys treat remote work? What is your philosophy in Finmo around it? Because see, as a person, I believe that it should be very clear, right? Like either you do it or you don't, or it is open, that whoever wants to come to office can come to office,
Hmm.
whoever doesn't want, right? Like, so how do you guys go about it?
Okay. So like our take is completely different,
Mhm.
but not very different from most of the startup
Mhm.
founder, right?
Mhm.
So if you're starting a company, right, and thinking of building something big, right, remote work will not remote work is not a way to move forward.
Correct. Mhm.
So you need to be in particular room, sit together, share enough experience with each other, so that you have a basically work experience with each other,
Mhm.
which you can count on. And basically just being in person, right, makes solving a problem much easier.
True.
Uh, it does happen, like how many times you have seen that you are on a Zoom call and come up with some tremendous idea. It doesn't just
Mhm.
happen, right?
Right.
It mostly happens on some whiteboard,
Right.
some
Brainstorming.
paper,
Yeah.
some brainstorming, right? Long hours rather than just 10-15 minutes call, right?
Hmm.
So be having like very clear about this from
Hmm.
day one. Since we have set up our office in actually hustle of Bangalore,
Hmm.
so the idea was very clear that we will not allow work from home
Oh,
or remote.
yeah.
There is exceptions scenario in all the cases, right? But
Correct. Correct.
generally, remote work is not to go forward with us.
Right.
We
I
will
think if you have the clarity as a company and
correct.
you can tell this in time of the interview itself,
Yes.
that really helps the candidate, right? They can choose not to if they don't want to, or they can join, right? Like I
Yes.
am personally a in office person, so
Yeah.
I can't work from home. I just cannot
Same. Same.
operate. My mind shuts down at home, right? So yeah, totally understandable. Going forward in the same direction, Roshan, if you could tell us, how does Finmo
Hmm.
acquire clients? How does fintech acquisition actually work? So fascinating to know, right? Like, because you're asking someone to completely move from their existing payment stack or process and switch to a new solution. The switching cost is also very high. How does this happen?
It's really really smart question actually, right?
Hmm.
So see, when you're working with like different companies, right,
Hmm.
who is moving a lot of money, right, so you need to provide them enough good reason to be with us, right?
Hmm.
So as if fintech platform, right, we have been always creating such opportunities for businesses, right? So when we started initially, right, we were actually real time payment focus.
Hmm.
Not many company in the world was doing this. when we
Right.
st- so when we started doing this,
Hmm.
then they had a reason, okay, because cost is much lesser
Hmm.
in real-time payment, let's go and adopt it, right? S- we keep building on this. Like, cost is one thing, the bundle of solution is another thing. That at one umbrella you can get almost everything. Think of a company who has multinational business, right? So basically, what they will do, basically, they will actually integrate with one partner for Australia, another
Right.
partner for Singapore, another partner for New Zealand, right?
Correct.
We are providing a single API
Hmm.
who can help you basically move money in all
All
those
the
countries.
Wow.
How cool it is, right? So
Yeah, very
basically,
convenient.
very convenient, right? So usually people come to us for this particular region.
Hmm.
Definitely, if you're giving us a volume, right, pricing can be much cheaper.
Correct.
Like,
And
so
it can be
it's
customized.
all different. This is like general sales style, right?
Sales.
So
Yeah.
but I think it's more about the product and the experience, right? We treat our customer like we give a lot of value to our customer, right? What are the problems they are facing, right? We try to solve it. We don't say that it's not our problem, it's your problem, like this basically Finmo is customer centric. So our the whole thing, if we go and culture also, like we have a whole page on culture. We say that we are customer centric. So customer first.
Cool. One thing that I wanted to understand, like after hearing to this, is there is one side of Finmo which is serving clients constantly, payments are happening, and keeping the system alive.
Correct.
But this is now, right? After you have spent some time with the startup, built a team,
Correct.
acquired clients, so that you're doing this.
Correct.
And in early days, startups usually innovate a lot. They come with an innovative idea, and that's how the startup is formed. But also, innovation is required and necessary across the journey, no matter how big you grow, if you want to, survive in this competitive scenario.
Correct.
Otherwise, you become stagnant, right? So,
Correct,
how
correct.
does Finmo, or how do you guys personally deal with balancing your current work, ongoing work, and making sure that is going on at its pace without no faults, and innovating in general?
You will be very surprised, actually. Even at this early stage, right, Finmo has actually two internal team who actually, one team actually focus on future products and one team
So, you have already divided the teams.
we already have that.
Uh-huh.
So the idea is very simple, that we need to keep looking for differentiator. We have to stand out with our offerings, and you can only do that if you are thinking about it constantly, right? Like I talked about basically treasury operating system, right? It was derived from that team.
Right.
There is a team basically who thought that we can't be just about money movement, we have to take whole control of money. It's not just about movement, it's
Kind
about
of an umbrella for the entire movement of money.
investment and just moving the money for like other purposes rather than the customer sending to us. So all those things.
Yeah, got it. Fascinating. One advice that you would like to give today's techie who's afraid and confused because Nvidia's CEO said that programming is dead, and AI has come in. Devin was launched. One advice to today's techie who wants to make it as a developer or a tech guy or girl in the future.
I will say that technologies are there to help us, not steal who we are. Okay, so if you don't adopt technologies, definitely you're gonna left behind. But if you are adopting technologies, right, it's gonna give you a lot more opportunity, right? Like when we can still go like 40-50 years back, right, when actually programming came, right, people said that manual works are dead. Nobody will use that, right? See, these jobs are still there. That's the only difference, that it is being done in a different way, right? And much efficiently. Probably somebody doesn't have to like typewrite everything and then basically send letters over it, right? You can just do it and do it automatically with a single click, right?
Absolutely.
So similar thing gonna happen with AI also. Okay, just change yourself, adopt the technologies, and you will keep finding that if you are able to adopt, you will never run out of opportunity. You will know that what is the next for you.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense that it will enable you to do better even
Better
in
things.
tech, right? Like,
Correct.
and I think in all other industries.
Correct,
Nothing to be scared of, guys. Keep working, keep programming. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
definitely.
AI and GPT will help you, Copilot will help you code better and faster, but it won't replace you. Not in the long term. Don't worry. Cool. Roshan, great till now. I would love to play a rapid fire round with you, right? For some fun. What would be your favorite programming language?
Golang.
Golang. Oh, okay. What should be, a programming language that a fresher should go for when he's starting coding?
They can start with C. I think
C.
everybody do that.
Mhm.
But if you want to add one more language, right?
Right.
Always feel which is much easier, right?
Mm.
I will say go with Golang.
Golang.
It's really good, really
Mm.
cool programming language.
Are you an early riser or a night owl?
I am more of early riser.
Early riser. When do you wake up? Like
5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
5 or 6 o'clock. Okay. One word to define Finmo's culture.
Empowerment.
Empowerment. Okay. E-commerce or edtech? You're already into fintech, but
Correct.
if let's say you had to take another path and you had two options, e-commerce or edtech, which one would you go for?
EdTech. It
EdTech.
still have a lot of
Potential.
untapped potential.
Yeah. And if you had, let's say, another opportunity, you consider Finmo as IPO'd, big company, you have done your work, and you're moving on to a new endeavor. Again, if you had an option of e-commerce, edtech, or fintech, what would you do?
Fintech.
What powers your day? Coffee or tea?
Actually, neither. But
Oh.
I prefer coffee or tea.
Oh, so you don't really depend on.
No, yeah,
anything. Wow.
I don't.
Usually
depend
coders are like caffeine,
No,
addicts, right?
It doesn't require actually.
Oh,
for
okay.
me.
One skill every engineer should have:
I think patience.
patience.
Patience is the most underrated skill in engineering.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense, I guess, for a lot of things. One thing that you do to relax after a long, tiring day.
A good sleep.
Good sleep. सोना पड़ता है weekend चाहिए
सोना
सोने
पड़ता
के
है,
लिए.
मतलब उसके बिना कुछ नहीं हो सकता.
हाँ. If you weren't in tech, what would you be doing?
I think I love teaching. So
Teaching.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So fun. I think teaching is a very hard job, like in general. Like knowing your stuff and being an expert is very different from being able to teach the same thing to other people, right?
So that is actually a challenge, right? Like,
Yeah.
so during my childhood days, right? Actually, I used to teach, and I used to feel that like teaching is something it should be done voluntarily. Even right now, also, right? Forget about the career I have, right? Whenever I see somebody who need the guidance, and if they come to us, like definitely I love to guide them in a right possible manner.
Correct. Favorite city for tech? Bangalore?
Bangalore. Yeah, definitely.
Obviously. Which city would you consider as an upcoming, city for like tech grads? I see people say that, Bangalore is for pure tech and tech advancements. Mumbai is for fintech. Delhi is for dhanda businesses, right? Like,
Correct.
what is your guess? Which will be the next
I
big city?
think it should be Pune or
Pune.
Hyderabad. Like kind of joint winner, right? They have not emerged as a one leading, but both are actually doing really good.
Sure. What would be that one advice you would like to give to founders who are trying to raise in this market?
See, people say that focus on idea, but I feel that education is more important. And if your product is like revenue focus, you should not worry too much. So revenue, go for revenue. Go for
Right.
revenue.
Make money. What is the one thing that excites you about the future, next 5 years?
I think the usage of AI.
AI.
Yeah, it's gonna save whole industry. It's just that people should not be afraid of it, and they should actually adopt it as much as possible.
Got it. We should have a positive outlook. I mean, it's so rare to hear someone say that they're excited about AI being in tech. I mean, half of the people are scared. But I totally understood that, it'll only help the
It will
overall
only help.
industry.
See,
Right.
Denying will not take away the facts.
Correct. Absolutely. Which app do you use the most in your mobile phone?
Most used app, definitely it has to be Gmail
Gmail.
or Slack.
Yeah, Slack. Absolutely. Yeah, all related work happens over there. What's something you're good at, but most of the people don't know?
I'm actually very good at cooking.
Cooking.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. You used to cook from when? Like, when did you start
Actually,
cooking?
I'm doing it from like, let's say like 15 years. Like
15 years
so,
age.
so when I was kid in
Mm.
schools, at that time itself I used to cook, and particularly nowadays it had reduced a lot.
Yeah.
But I used to. Skill is a skill, right? You have
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Cool. I guess with that, we would come to the end of podcast. Roshan, thank you so much for being here. Love to learn from your journey. It's been very exciting. And as I was talking to you, I could, feel a rush of emotions right from work to personal, in my personal self. Thanks to our audience who has watched this podcast. I hope that you could derive some inspiration from Roshan's journey from a humble background and from Bihar, and then coming up from mechanical engineering, the pivot to computer science, and building on whatever he had faith on, to this place where he is in Bangalore today and working for Finmo as a director of tech. Uh, Once again, we will keep bringing you great folks who have been there, done that, as I've repeated all the time on this series of podcasts, wherein you'll get to learn from real life experiences of how things are done and how things happen. Thank you for joining us in this episode.